29, clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1029 by Assemblymember Frazier, an act relating to veterans.
Mr. Frazier, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Assembly Bill 1029 will establish a certification program for charitable organizations that provide specific services to veterans and their families. The state provides resources in form of grants to nonprofit agencies to provide housing, mental health, substance abuse, case management, and employment services to deserving veterans. This certification process will require applicants to demonstrate that they meet state charitable solicitation standards and will create accountability for those organizations by establishing standards for certification and serving of our state's veterans. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote on AB 1029.
See no discussion or debate on this item. The clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tie the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. Measure passes. File items 52 and 53 passed and retained. File item 54, AB 475 for the purpose of amendment. Clerk will read with amendments.
Assembly Bill 475 with amendments by Assemblymember Bigelow.
Mr. Bigelow, you may open on the amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The amendments to AB 475 simply add an urgency clause in order to enhance the economic development, stability, and self-sufficiency of the Jackson Rancheria Band of Miwok Indians, and to protect the interests of the tribe and its members, the surrounding community, and the California public at the earliest possible time. It is necessary that this act take effect immediately, members. With that, I ask for your support and that the bill goes out to print and back on file.
Thank you, Mr. Bigelow. Seeing no discussion or debate, without objection, we may take a voice vote on the amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Bill is out to print and back on file. File item 55 passed and retained. Moving to file item 56. That's AB 1435. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1435 by Assemblymember Alejo and others, an act relating to hazardous waste.
Mr. Alejo.
Speaker and members, AB 1435 recognizes the safety of glass packaging and removes glass food and beverage containers from the Toxics and Packaging Law. The Toxics and Packaging Law previously provided a clear exemption for recycled glass. That exemption lapsed, and the underlying issue of inert nature of glass packaging is still relevant. The unintended consequences of the Packaging Act may prevent the use of recycled glass in these containers. This bill is strongly supported by all the people we love, the Beer Institute, the Wine Institute, the Glass Packaging Institute, the California Labor Federation, and the West Coast Protective League. This bill received unanimous support in the ESTM committee, and out of appropriations, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Alejo. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tie the vote. Ayes 72, noes 2. Measure passes. File item 57 passed and retained. Moving to file item 58. That's AB 1108. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1108 by Assemblymember Lowe, an act relating to beverage containers.
Mr. Lowe, you may open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. I'm honored to present Assembly Bill 1108 as a bill that reduces the daily redemption limits of aluminum, plastics, and glass beverage containers to combat fraud. As many of you know, the Bottle Bill program is a victim of its own success. While the intention of the beverage program was to be self-sustainable, in recent years the beverage program has not generated enough to cover expenditures. One of the contributing factors of the deficit has been the importation of out-of-state beverage containers. According to Cal Recycle, lowering the limits is a significant way to reduce this problem. This bill helps address the fraud in this well-intentioned program by limiting how much a certified recycling center can accept from one consumer in a 24-hour period. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tie the vote. Ayes 73, no 0. Measure passes. File items 59 through 66 pass and retain. Moving to file item 67, that's SCR 46. Clerk will read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 46 by Senator Bates relative to Arthritis Awareness Month.
Mr. Breaux, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Senate Concurrent Resolution 46 proclaims the month of May 2015 as Arthritis Awareness Month. Arthritis includes more than 100 rheumatic diseases, and conditions that affect joints, tissues that surround joints, and connective tissue. Arthritis affects an estimated 42.5 million American adults living with some form of doctor-diagnosed arthritis, representing 22.7% of the adults in the United States. Additionally, an estimated 300,000 children under the 8 years of 18 have a form of arthritis or rheumatic condition, representing 1 in every 25 child in the United States. By passing SCR 46, the legislature will recognize the month of May 2015 as Arthritis Awareness Month. This measure is sponsored by the Arthritis Foundation. On behalf of Senator Patricia Bates, I respectfully ask for your aye vote, and I'd like the first roll to be open for co-authors.
Thank you, Mr. Breaux. Mr. Breaux asks you the first roll will be open for co-authors. Clerk will open the roll. All members wishing to add as co-authors on SCR 46. This is co-authors members on SCR 46. The clerk will close the roll. There are 73 co-authors added. Without objection, we may take a voice vote on the resolution. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Moving to the consent calendar, members. Does any member wish to remove an item from the consent calendar? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will read the second-day consent calendar.
Assembly Bill 532 by Assemblymember McCarty and others enacting to state agencies.
The clerk will open the roll on the second-day consent calendar. All members vote who desire to vote. This is consent calendar, members. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll and tally the vote. Ayes 74, no 0. The consent calendar is adopted. Clerk will read any remaining bills on the second-day consent calendar.
Assembly Bill 285.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 385.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 527.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 606.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 625.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 683.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 684 with urgency.
Ayes 74, no 0. On the urgency. Ayes 74, no 0 on the bill.
Assembly Bill 776.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 897.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 975.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1034.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1131.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1150.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1198.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1216.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1223.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1236.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1320.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1393.
Ayes 74, no 0.
Assembly Bill 1412.
Ayes 74, no 0.
And Assembly Bill 1436.
Ayes 74, no 0. Members, we will now move to announcements and adjournments in memory. The following members were granted prior permission to speak on an adjournment in memory. Members, please direct your attention to Ms. Campos. Ms. Campos, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dear colleagues, I rise today to adjourn in memory of my late father, Eloy Campos. I come before you today both as a daughter and the representing member of a family in grief. A family who has collectively lost a father, a husband, a brother, and abuelito. I stand here as a member of my family to remember and celebrate the life of Eloy Campos, not just as my father, but for what he stood for in his life. When I look around in the community and I look around in the state of California, I am reminded of what my father was able to accomplish during his life here on earth. A man who left Rio Grande Valley of South Texas to come to California in search of a better life for his family. One never really knows where their life will take them. And my father was drawn to a community in need, a community thirsting for change, a community that needed Eloy and Rosa Campos to make the courageous sacrifice that comes with forcing change, especially in East San Jose, a community that is called Sal Si Puedes, get out if you can. The community where he would discover his inner passion for social justice, My father always told me, how can you expect to have a healthy and thriving family if your physical surroundings and environment was neglected by some of the things that government promised, equality and prosperity for all? So through President Johnson's Great Society on War, on Poverty's Model Cities program was created. He fought to make the changes from the grassroots by becoming a member, and not just a member, but becoming the vice president of the governing board in the community. While working for Ford Motor Company as an organizer for the United Auto Workers, my dad would further his passion for social justice when he met Cesar Chavez and they became friends. My father would adopt his struggles and his fight to achieve basic human rights for all farm workers. My father was an extraordinary individual, and he had the extraordinary ability to make people feel at ease. He even compelled them to stand up for social justice. He gave them the courage to fight for what they believed in. And those who were in the struggle with him understood that he would not stand without them, and that he would stand shoulder to shoulder with them and go toe to toe with anyone when it came to fighting for social justice. And it was clear that he would never abandon them in their time of need. People were drawn to my father for his strength, his humor, his kindness, his smile, his charm, and his unequivocal approach to life. He had a natural ability to insert himself into places and situations where others were not comfortable. He was bold, fearless, and always determined. But the one thing that I will remember about my father is he was a great storyteller. And the story I will remember the most is the story of our family. As a young girl, I was fortunate to have been blessed with my father, who taught me many life lessons, which I will teach my son Jack. I had a front row seat to his teachings and his accomplishments as he worked throughout the state of California. My dad helped shape the person I am today, and I think you saw that this afternoon. He was loving, caring, and he was very strict. Today is our chance to remember, to reflect on those great leaders in our communities, whom, although may not be in our history books, but who provided the broad shoulders for those leaders in our history books that they stand on. My dad loved life. He loved life, and he lived life on his terms. And he only recognized boundaries when needed. My father, Eloy Campos, is survived by his wife, Rosa Campos, my mother, his son, Javier Campos, his son-in-law, Neil Struthers, his grandson, Jack Campos Struthers, and many brothers and sisters, and many nephews. Thank you, colleagues, for giving me the opportunity to recognize my father in this adjournment in memory. And I am blessed to have a very strong family and my mother and brother who are here with me today in this chambers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campos. Mr. Kansan Chu, you are recognized.
I also rise to adjourn in memory of Mr. Campos. I met Mr. Campos probably back in the late 90s, 14 years ago. But I got to know who he is, where he stands, where his values are, through many of the deeds and the actions and the words from Nora Campos and Javier Campos during the years that I served as a San Jose City Council with them. Oftentimes, and I can remember numerous times, they would tell me that I learned this from my dad. You know, that my dad taught me this, my dad taught me that. So on top of everything that Nora had spoken of, for Mr. Campos. I would just like to add that one of the greatest accomplishments that Mr. Campos would be proud of is to raise two very good children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chu. Mr. Holden, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise today to adjourn in memory of a former member of this body, Richard Montjoy. Even though I personally did not know him, he represented part of my district in the San Gabriel Valley. Mr. Montjoy died May 18th at the age of 83. He started his political career as mayor of Monrovia. He went on to serve 22 years in the legislature in both the Assembly and the Senate, beginning in 1978. He was widely known as a man who stuck to his guns, even though sometimes it put him at odds with his own party. On behalf of the California Assembly, I extend condolences to his sons, Dennis and Mike Montjoy, and his daughter, Judy Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Ms. Melendez, you are recognized from your desk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask that we adjourn in memory today in memory of United States Marine Corps Sergeant Eric Saman. He was on a humanitarian mission to Nepal. He and 5 other Marines were in that helicopter when it crashed, killing all of them. And Eric grew up in my district. He went to high school in my city. He lived in Murrieta in my district. He married his high school sweetheart, and they went on to have 2 beautiful children, a daughter and a son, ages 2 and 1. So, unfortunately, those children will grow up not knowing their father. But though I didn't know Eric well, I know his heart. I know the heart of our Marines and our men and women in uniform, and they know full well that when they put on that uniform and they go on a mission, sometimes they don't come back, and they take that responsibility without hesitation. So I would ask that these chambers adjourn in the memory of Eric Saman and his... Please keep his family and his children in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Melendez. Members, please bring the names to the desk to be printed in the journal. All requests to adjourn in memory will be deemed read and printed in the journal. The session schedule is as follows. Wednesday, May 27th, check-in session. Thursday, May 28th, floor session at 9 a.m. All other items remaining will be passed and retained. All motions shall be continued. Seeing and hearing no further business, I am ready to entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Ridley Thomas moves. Ms. Waldron seconds that this House stands adjourned until Thursday, May 28th at 9 a.m. Quorum call is lifted.